Happy Wednesday! Not for Gerard Gallant, but we'll discuss that. I'm Lawrence Presman, the Prez. You're watching Puck Time, the best hockey betting show on the planet. Andrew McInnis joining us from Halifax, a place nobody's ever heard of. And Buster Sports from Mexico, a place that everyone has heard of and a whole lot of us want to go, especially in December. Nobody ever wants to go to Halifax, though. How are you, Andrew?
Doing a lot better, Prez. They're here, but doing pretty good. Got some tea going for today, and shout out to Marco D'Angelo for giving me this nice little WagerTalk mug here. So I wanted to say it couldn't be more fitting, Prez, that we have two games today, and one of the games involves Dave and I's beloved Habs. So it couldn't have worked out any better because I know you, as much as you love talking about them and ripping on them. So it worked out really well. How's your week going, Prez?
My week's going great, dude. I mean, I don't rip on Montreal at all. Like, I'm a huge fan. Like, you know, in all seriousness, when Montreal loses, it's somewhat close to orgasmic. So I'm very thankful for Montreal being around. They're one of my favorite teams in the world. Yeah, nothing.
Nothing.
I got nothing.
Yeah, where's your side, Buster?
I don't even have it for today, President. It's only a couple of games, so I'm thinking, you know, with Gallant being fired, we'll probably talk about that, and so I'm thinking you might leave us alone today, especially with the Leafs playing the way they're playing. You don't really have much to say. So
I did want to say, because I was really disappointed I couldn't make Monday's show, just based off how many goals the Leafs were giving up, and you know the loss that they took to Florida, but I figured you probably skipped over that and didn't really talk about that on Monday, but I would have made sure it got mentioned. But I'm sure the guys kind of let that fly.
That's so radar. Yesterday, dude. I mean, like, the Leafs just destroyed New Jersey last night. Move on, Andrew. Like, I understand you. I understand you Montreal Canadian fans need to find something to bitch about. It's a real stretch when the Leafs lose 2 games out of 12, and you're like, jump on that 2 or 1 loss. I mean, come on, dude. Come on, man. Anyway,
no, Prez,
enough,
the point
Andrew.
is, I don't care how many games they lose. It's about the goals they're giving up.
Yeah, no, that's not how it works, Andrew. A win's a win. Like, I know you're a kid. I know you're young. So let me explain how it works. If you let 15 goals in one game and you score 16, that's a win. You know, I mean, I don't, like, it's like Montreal, way to go. Kept the team to 2 goals. Shame they only got 1. Buster, how you doing, brother?
I like that.
I'm doing good, Lawrence. Yeah, and I think we'll talk about that. Montreal is having trouble scoring goals, and Carey is standing on his head and winning a couple of games for him. But I'm realistic. I know that better times are ahead, and yeah, everything's going great, President.
Yeah, I don't see better times ahead, but that's for another show. Andrew, what do you think about the Gallant firing? I'm blown away. This is a guy that took a team of nobodies to the Stanley Cup, then comes back the next year, a major penalty away from advancing again. I think he's one of the best coaches in all of hockey. There's no chance he lost that room. They're still in the playoff hunt. I am floored by this firing.
Yeah, it's what you've really seen happen these days in the NHL, really. I mean, we saw what happened to Coach Laviolette. I mean, he had a really talented roster, but they went through a really bad slide. I mean, they weren't performing in the past, and all of a sudden he's canned. A little bit different of a scenario this time, though, with Gallant, because, like you said, they're in a pretty good position right now still. Going through their first pretty bad slump here. A lot of it has to do with defense and goaltending. Marc-Andre Fleury was dealing with some personal problems, and I've been saying this for the past couple of days. You know, we don't like to mention it as handicappers or as sports fans, but when it comes down to it, guys, you know, if you leave the game for personal problems, you lose somebody in your life, whatever it is, that affects you. And, you know, certain things have affected Marc-Andre Fleury. The defense isn't looking good. Their scoring is a little bit slowed down. So, you know, I was saying this last night to somebody on Twitter. I mean, Vegas overnight, I've been looking at a lot more overnight line, guys. Monday night, they were minus 140. They closed at minus 175. against the Buffalo Sabres. I mean, you can't be laying that price with a team that's completely fallen off the cliff like that. But does he deserve to get fired? Definitely not. I mean, at least wait a little bit. And I think you're one of the guys, Prez, I think, that I talked about this with as well. How quick they're hiring the new coach is kind of bothersome to me.
Well, I mean, look at that New Jersey coach. He was hired within 2 hours.
Yeah, exactly. Way too quick.
Well, I will tell you one thing. Montreal is pretty slow on the trigger finger. And, I mean, let's be honest here. Let's put aside our love or your love for the Montreal Canadiens, most ironically named team in history of sports. Claude Julien is just a disaster. No matter how, it's just hockey has passed that man by. Now they have a guy on the market who can coach this new style of hockey, this fast-paced, back-checking, forechecking, remain in a pack of five style hockey. If Montreal doesn't fire Julien today and hire Gallant, they're idiots. And guess what? They're idiots. They still got Carey Price in the back of the net, a team that's going nowhere. Idiots. Shea Weber playing on defense. They won't trade him. Idiots. I don't know, man. Buster, this is one of the most mismanaged teams in all of hockey.
You can say that. I agree. I definitely would love to see do exactly what you just said could happen. I would love to see them fire Julien, get Gallant, because, like I said, we were talking a little earlier, Prez. I am shocked, just as you are, with this Gallant firing. I just, they are only a few points back of even second. I think they're 4 points out of second spot.
Yeah.
And I kind of believe that there's something else to this. I'm not sure what, but I mean, you just don't fire a guy that gets you the Stanley Cup. They literally, if I remember right, they were going to give him a contract extension like a couple months ago. So how do you go from that just because you lose 4 games? And like Andrew, and he made some great points, Andrew, about the defense just isn't there this year so far. And the goaltending, obviously, with Fleury having, when you have a death in a family like that, that might affect him the whole year. But I mean, you don't fire a coach because of this whole thing. I'm just shocked, and I'm not just I won't comment anymore. I just hope you're right about Montreal getting Gallant because he's French.
I'm not right, dude.
Why not?
Because they're not going to fire Claude Julien, because Bergeron should be fired first.
Oh, agreed. Yeah.
Go ahead, Andrew.
I just wanted to just quickly continue with what you said about how you don't think they lost him in the room. And that's one thing that really I'm questioning here, is because sometimes when a really sudden firing happens like that, even just after a few games, there's some stuff you usually find out a week or two after about the coach with the players. But I don't think we're going to, though. I don't think we will.
Who knows? All I know is that's twice in a row Gallant has been fired for coaching incredibly. Once out of Florida and now out of Vegas.
I was just going to say, Prez, maybe it's a Bill Peters situation or something. Maybe there's something that we don't know about. We haven't seen, because for them
we will find out.
Yeah, for them to do something like that and already have DeBoer sitting there hired. So this was in the mix for a bit.
Guys, let's get to it. Last night I had a 5% play on Colorado. I lost. I'm now on a 9-1 NHL run. And man, Andrew, I don't know if you watched that Colorado game. We had 3 goal posts. But worse than that, dude, the second goal by Dallas, high sticking, wasn't called right before the goal. Slashing wasn't called right before the goal. Overtime goal, bad face-off. I mean, everything that could have possibly gone wrong went wrong. Colorado outshot them 2-1, played better. It's just the way it works. All we can do, as they say in poker, is make the right call and let the cards fall the way they fall.
Yeah, I got to give you credit. I mean, Prez, you're still on a great run. You're always promoting us, so I think it's fair that we promote you a little bit and say how great you're doing in all sports, but hockey as well. It's a hockey show, so hey, I mean, still a great record, great run you're going on right now. And to be quite honest, I mean, it always sucks if you have a 5% play and it goes to overtime because, as we all know, overtimes, anything can really happen. And those are still two great teams. I was also on Colorado just like yourself. We were texting about it. On to the next game. I mean, you still have a great run going, and the week's still a lot of opportunities left to go.
10 minutes in and we haven't gotten to the games yet. Buster, congratulations on your 5-1 hockey day yesterday. Outstanding stuff. Let's go, boys. Chicago going into Montreal. Montreal around a -180 against Chicago. And look, here's my take on this. Chicago's on a back-to-back. I get it. Chicago... Well, they're not a great team, but they have playoff aspirations here, and they're over 500. They just beat Ottawa. They just beat Anaheim. And Montreal's sitting and waiting for them. Montreal's won their last 2 games. One of them was in overtime. A very, very impressive 2-1 overtime win against Ottawa. I mean, one of those wins that really, it's a statement win, you know. We aren't the worst team in the league.
I love your sarcasm, Prez.
Here's my take.
You're being funny today, Prez. I'll give it to you. I missed the show.
Okay, well, we miss you, Andrew. Here's the bottom line, boys. There's not one single team I would bet Montreal at -180 against. Not one. Maybe Colgate, perhaps, York University. My team, for sure my team. My team I would bet Montreal at -180 against. I can't take Chicago, and the hell I'm taking Montreal as a massive favorite. That's just absurd. I like under the total of 6 goals. Andrew?
Yeah, I mean, even you guys know I'm a Habs fan, but there's no way. I mean, I'm a sports bettor as well. There's no way looking at this line. I thought it would move quite a bit. I thought that overnight, and even as right now we're recording this video, I thought it would be moved down completely, but it hasn't. You can get a really good price on this Blackhawks team. The Blackhawks guys are 7-1 this year on the second half of back-to-backs. Some teams are good at it. Some teams are completely horrible and they come out flat. So 7-1 definitely worth mentioning there. And yesterday, again, I mean, Prez was mentioning how bad Ottawa was, but Chicago had a pretty good comeback win. It was still a hard-fought win. They came back, in the third and sent it to overtime, get the job done in overtime. So they're feeling good about themselves. And like we always talk about, the travel spot, Ottawa's not too far away from Montreal. Part of me a couple of days ago when I looked ahead to this spot was thinking about the over, just because Montreal has just had so many low-scoring games in a row, but they have been able to create some chances. But, it's just, you still look at the injuries for the Montreal Canadiens. I still don't really, you're still seeing random guys scoring every night that you don't expect to score. Chicago, they're going to try and keep it low scoring. They had a really flat start to their game last night, and a 6 of the total still here. I can't see 7 goals here tonight. I'll lean under as well, and I definitely lean to the Blackhawks as well.
He's Andrew McInnis. You can catch him at sportsmemo.com. Buster, 5-1 night last night. What do you like in this Montreal game?
Well, it looks like it's going to be all 3 of us, guys. I like the game under 2, and I know it's I've seen 6 over 20, and I've seen on a couple there were 6.5 under 20. So you might want to wait around. I don't know why it's getting bet up. Montreal, they've went 7 of their last 8 under. Chicago's went 4 of their last 5. Montreal in their last 8 games, they've averaged 1.88 goals a game. Now I know they are offensive. They still lead the league in shots on goal per game. They're the top team in shots on goal, but they can't score.
Yeah,
they can't score.
So listeners out there, shots on goal is the most meaningless statistic in the entire world. I play hockey twice a week. I play defense. And I tell my goalies all the time, as soon as they pass the blue line, I'm going to give them their space, let them shoot. Who cares? It's a meaningless statistic.
There's certain graphs you can look at. There's certain Twitter accounts online, certain websites you can look at that show danger zones.
Yes, of course.
Dangerous scoring opportunities, and
right.
So that's kind of what Prez is saying. Shots don't matter. It's about where you're shooting them from and how they're being created.
Yeah, I mean these are world-class goalies. If they can't stop a puck from the blue line, they need to be fired. Buster, what were you saying?
Well, and just getting back to Montreal not being able to score, and why I think this game's going to go under is again, Chicago's going to come in here off of back-to-back, so the legs aren't that well right off the bat, so they're going to probably try to play a little bit more defensive to start the game. Talking about world-class goalies, Carey Price has looked great in the last few starts, and that's what has to happen for Montreal to win games. Like Andrew says, I'd never lay any 180 here. I'm not going to bet Chicago here, even though that was a great stat, Andrew. I looked that stat up myself. Yeah, they're Chicago and back-to-backs have been very good, so they could be a play if you wanted. Because for me, I just don't bet teams off back-to-backs. I won't bet that side off back-to-backs unless there's something that really stands out. If they're on a streak, maybe, or if, But for the most part, I won't touch that. To me, I just believe that the under is the way to go here. And hopefully Montreal wins 2-0. How's that?
Buster Sports. You can find him at WagerTalk.com. And the two of these boys are having their Montreal Love Fest. That's fine. I'll get the last laugh. Boys, one more game before we get into that real quick. Carmine Bianco on an 8-1 NHL run. Prez on a 9-1 NHL run. Both up double-digit units on the season. Thanks, Buster. I have a package up for everybody, half price off of our season package. It's regularly $6.95. It's yours. It goes till June. $345. Head over to WagerTalk.com. Use the promo code CARM345 or Prez345. And we have a huge promotion going on over at Sports Memo. Only there, a week of anybody's plays, including Andrew McInnis, for only $59. No promo code needed at all. Boys, let's talk Philadelphia against St. Louis. And, Philadelphia with an outstanding comeback win in overtime in a shootout against Boston. They lost to Tampa Bay before that. They beat Washington before that. I mean, they go and beat St. Louis, and that's quite a resume for their last 4 games. St. Louis, Boston, and Washington, only losing to Tampa Bay by 1. That's impressive. The problem is they have to beat St. Louis for that to happen. St. Louis has won 4 in a row. I think they could be the best team in all of hockey right now. I gotta take, I don't mean to be so square here, but I just can't see Philadelphia going in there and winning this game. I don't want to lay the juice, so I'm going to take St. Louis in regulation. Buster?
Yeah, that's I like that pick as well. For me, Philadelphia, the reason why those 3 games, they were all at home. This Flyers club, they are just brutal on the road, and they allow a ton of goals. They've gone now on the last 8 road games, they've gone 7 out of 8 over the total. Their first periods have been atrocious. They've been just getting scored on like crazy. It looks like Carter Hart got hurt in practice, so it looks like Elliott, I believe I even saw he's already confirmed as a starter tonight. And even though Elliott's been playing well, he still has an under 9 goals save percentage. So for me, I actually like this game over, and it won't be too often that you'll see me talk about betting an over in a St. Louis game. But St. Louis, they've averaged over 4 goals a game the last 5 games. They seem to be able to score. They're scoring like crazy, which is not like a St. Louis team. But on the other side, if you go back the 8 games, and I've got them here, on the road for the Flyers, the totals of those games have been 10, 9, 7, 3, 8, 9, 8, 9. There's just high-scoring games when the Flyers go on the road. Just the way they play, they're always behind. And I see this line was 5.5 last night when I got it, but I know it's 6 now. I still like it over 6, guys.
Andrew, clarification. A week of Andrew or anybody at Sports Memo, $49, not $59. Andrew texted me that correction in the middle of the show. Andrew, what do you like in this game? And then we got to go.
I like the over just like Dave does. Ultimately, you look at this Philadelphia team, no matter who they're playing against, they're giving up goals left and right. If you're a stats better, you're like in the first period over, just like Buster said, they're not starting games well on the road at all. Like he said, 7 of the last 8 games on the road over the total, 8 of their last 12 in general over the total. And yeah, I understand what you're saying that, it's difficult taking it over with St. Louis, but I think it's gone really, really under the radar. This team is averaging close to, 3.25 goals a game right now. I mean, this is a team that's still scoring. They just don't always fly over the total because their goaltending is so good. But I still think Philadelphia has the capability to get a few goals on them. Same thing you said. I mean, 5.5. That was a bargain for a game involving Philadelphia. St. Louis, like I said, has still been scoring. I'm still comfortable with that 6. And you know what? The regulation is the way to go here, but I wouldn't talk anybody off the puck line for St. Louis here tonight because Philadelphia has been playing so sloppy on the road. This Blues team is going for their 10th straight home victory here tonight, and I don't see Philadelphia stopping them. So I'll lean to the Blues here at home, the puck line, but I'll also lean to the over.
Andrew McInnis, sportsmemo.com, BusterSportsWagerTalk.com, and this is Puck Time. Boys, thank you so much for doing this. Tomorrow's show will feature the legend himself, Dave Koken, and a whole lot of Dave Koken-specific promotions, so make sure to check that out. Best of luck to both of you tonight. Hope the Habs lose, but the two of you win.
Come on, why do you got to be like that, Prez? Like, why don't you just throw us guys a bone?
Because they're in a province that has tried to separate from Canada for the last 100 years, yet they use the name Canadians, and that, my friend, is the end of the show.